The MSRA is your one-way ticket to specialty training in the UK. Acing this exam can secure you your dream job in highly competitive locations like London, which is the most competitive. What do you need to do to pass? Hello, my name is Dr. Sisi Atwine and I'm a Ugandan medical doctor currently working and training in the UK. When you apply for specialty training in the UK, there is a long listing process that is done to ensure you fulfill the basic eligibility criteria for specialty training. Once long listing has been done and you fulfill this criteria, then you're going to be invited to do the MSRA. The multiple specialty recruitment assessment, like the name says, is required for a variety of specialties including psychiatry, general practice, ophthalmology, obstetrics and gynecology, radiology, neurosurgery, community and sexual reproductive health, and psychiatry. You only need to do this exam once, even though you're applying for multiple specialties, and each specialty uses the marks in a different way. Before COVID, if you did this exam and scored extremely highly, that is above a certain mark, then you'd bypass the rest of the recruitment process, including the interview. If you did not pass above this mark, then you would have to go for a face-to-face interview, and your interview results plus your MSRA results would be combined and a score would be given to you. This would then be used to rank you against other candidates applying for the same specialty. After COVID, there are no more face-to-face interviews, and some specialties still have digital interviews, but for psychiatry, there's still no interviews and only the results of this exam are being used. The higher you rank, the higher your chances of getting your most preferred job. So you better read hard for this exam, guys, so you can rank as highly as possible. So if this is not the first time you're watching my videos and you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a sign from God, from the universe, from me? Well, if that's what you're waiting for, here it is. Subscribe. It's a computer-based exam that has two parts. The first one is called the professional dilemmas, and the second part is called clinical problem solving. The clinical problem solving part of the exam is a part where you're going to be presented with clinical scenarios and you have to figure out like the diagnosis, a management plan. Basically, it's the kind of things you already know as a doctor. To me, this is the easier part of the exam. The second part is the professional dilemmas. The professional dilemmas is what is called a situational judgment test. So this focuses on a candidate's approach to working as a doctor. Specifically, this measures someone's understanding of ways you would approach scenarios in the NHS, so how you do things as a doctor in the NHS. It focuses on the appropriate behaviors that you would have when interacting with patients, with colleagues, and also how you manage your own work. The test covers 3 domains: empathy, professional integrity, coping with pressure, and professional integrity. Professional dilemmas has about 50 questions and you have 95 minutes to complete those. The clinical problem solving bit has 97 questions and you have about 75 minutes. So in total, that whole exam is about 3 hours. So I feel like for most international medical graduates like myself, the harder bit of the exam is professional dilemmas, because like you've heard before, it's testing your knowledge as a doctor working in the NHS. So if you haven't worked in the NHS, it can be a bit tricky. I would advise that you focus a lot of your attention on this part. The type of questions in the professional dilemmas include ranking questions and multiple choice questions. So this is an example of the questions that can come. So when you look at this kind of question, it can be very hard to figure out what's the answer. So in the blueprint, they didn't tell us what the answer is. But for me, from my knowledge of working in the NHS and also from doing enough of these questions, you realize with time that, for instance, you should always be talking to the person involved first before you go to their seniors. So for me, I would rank it as B, A, E, C, and then D. So try and talk to James first before talking to the consultant. The next type of questions are called multi-choice questions. So again, please pause the screen and have a look. So when you look at this kind of questions, there doesn't seem to be an exactly right answer. Equally, there isn't a specifically wrong one. It's just that some are more right than others, but you have to choose what would be the top 3 that you will choose. So for me, I would choose B, E, and G. Study resources. So to study for these exams, I use 2 question banks. The first one is called Passmedicine and the other one is called Emedica. Emedica is about £49 for 1 month and £106 for 6 months. The format of Emedica is closer to the real exam, so I would suggest that if you have the money, then I think it's worth the extra money to pay for Emedica. Passmedicine is only about £25 for 6 months. So for me, I used passmedicine because first of all, it was cheaper, it has a better layout, although not similar to the exam, but it's easier to read passmedicine notes. So I got passmedicine for 6 months and then I paid for emedica for only the final month. But I think when I look back now, I would say that emedica alone is sufficient. Or if you have enough time, then just do both like I did. I would advise that you start with a non-training job so you can have experience with the NHS, and then you're able to even do these exams easily. Although if you haven't had experience with the NHS, then that's also fine. Just pay for the question banks and make sure you understand what the right answers would be, so that way you have a better advantage. In terms of time, so I would say 3 to 6 months is good. You can obviously do less depending on what else is going on in your life. For me, I aimed for 6 months because I wanted to get really highly so that I did not have to do the interview. Unfortunately, I was not successful in this because my day job was really busy at that time and a lot going on in my life. So I ended up performing just below the cutoff. So it was really painful at that time, but at the same time, I'm happy I did, because then I went for the interview and now I have more experience in that, and so even more video ideas to do for you guys. If you like this video, then please click like, and if you want to know the rest of the criteria required to get into specialty training, then please click here.